is Patricia Mashale. I'm from the South African Police Service. I'm going to read you an article that was written on 15 January 2010. Free State Police Boss under fire. The police watchdog has recommended that the Free State Police Chief and some of his deputies be fired due to fudge crime statistics, the abuse of travel allowance, and giving jobs to crowds. The Independent Complaints Directorate, it was so ICD by the time, has recommended that Free State Police Chief and some deputies be disciplined over irregularities in the province police service, Volkswagen reports. These irregularities contained in a report by ICD Chief in the Northern Cape, Dan Teffo, included the manipulation of crime statistics, the misuse of travel allowances, and unauthorized appointments of 36 people, mostly friends and family members. These posts were never advertised in newspaper said. It said Morema was awaiting feedback from Police Minister Dan Teffo's office after making recommendations on how to discipline Chief of Police Mashale and his management. The probe into the provincial management of the police service was reportedly ordered by President Jacob Zuma's office after George Mashale submitted complaints to the president. Mashale told folks that he would, before the end of the week, request Zuma to remove Mashale as Chief of Police. We sick and tired of corrupt people. I want to give President Zuma credit. He has kept his promise to investigate all complaints about corruption. He was quoted as saying. In the report, Morema reveals that Provincial Chief of Crime Intelligence, Joey Kers, has given incorrect crime statistics to the Minister of Police during a visit in January 2029. Mashale's complaints that Kers was warned the figures were incorrect and Mashale was aware of them. Another complaint was that Mashale ordered 2 police officials to drive his official vehicle and a government vehicle to Pretoria while he flew there. One official said he had done so to obtain a warning statement which he failed to do. In another incident related to expense claims, 2 deputies, Pierre Leroux and Tapelo Mamabolo, reportedly attended a funeral of Mashale's father-in-law and claimed travel and accommodation allowances. According to Mashale, Mamabolo was given a lift and still claimed expenses, to which the report by the ICD stated no policy could be found to justify their trip. It was also found that Mashale's secretary, following his orders, traveled to Pretoria with the government vehicle to fetch documents and a cell phone. Apparently, he could not be sent by mail or courier. She also attended the sporting event that a child participated in and claimed travel and accommodation expenses. No comment was given by Mashale's office because the case was still sub judice. That was 2010. When everyone was talking, I realized that I started this back in 2010 already. I reported the corruption in the police in 2010. Like in the article stated that ICD did investigate and they did make recommendations to their National Commissioner, Bheki. And nothing was done. Bheki flew to Free State one day and he just removed the management to other provinces. I still have the report and I've been writing to Bheki since 2010 to say that you never implemented the recommendations of the report. And some of these people are still in the police. Joey Kers is the head of crime intelligence in the Northern Cape. Now, after that, my husband was a reservist in the police and he also reported corruption. He was arrested, trumped up charges against him and 2 of his colleagues. They were detained for 10 days without being charged. We had to find a lawyer to go to the High Court to get him out. And it was also all over in the papers. They were corrupt. They were in business with Nigerians, drugs, car theft, everything. And then after 4-5 months, the charges were dropped because there was still no charges against them. And my children were still very small at the time. The police came with their father, cuffed to our house. And they searched our house. They took all our personal documents, my children's personal documents, our IDs, everything. Our cell phones was also taken then. And still today, we don't know what happened. Nothing happened. Still today. And now, I'm going to read you another story. It was recently in the paper. As the police service one corruption-fighting whistleblower, Patricia Mashale, to disappear. Under the guiding hand of Police Minister and disgraced former National Police Commissioner Bheki, the South African Police Service has been increasingly following in the same brutal corrupt footsteps as its apartheid preceded. And then it does not hesitate to turn on its own. In the early 1990s, a security police officer was murdered before he could expose his white colleagues who were stealing petrol from police stores. The corruption appetites of the new power elite have grown with the eating, according to political analyst Paul Zulu, and it's the very many police officers who take seriously their oaths of office to report any suspected wrongdoing to management, regardless of who the wrongdoers is that are in the family line. In the Free State, Senior Administrator Patricia Mashale is at the front of this line. The usual weapon is dismissal, using unfair labor practice or expeditious disciplinary actions. But the way in which Mashale has been targeted by her colleagues during the past few months points to her own life and possibly the lives of family members being in danger. She has now heard that there are plans to arrest her on a trumped-up charge of perjury and remove her to somewhere far away from home without registering details on the police system. She fears that they want to make her disappear. As a senior and experienced administrator in a unit dedicated to priority crimes, Mashale has dutifully reported corruption, including irregular appointments and promotion, and firearm-related criminality to her line managers or to the Hawks. The current wave of persecution started after she shared the dossier of corruption in disciplinary hearings and how it was being used to settle score to the National Commissioner Sitole in January 2021. It was never acted on, but details were probably leaked to his former Free State colleagues. Initially, a charge of misconduct for reporting to Sitole was opened, but it was not pursued. Then a case of harassment was opened against her by one of those she had named in the dossier, and a personal cell phone was illegally seized by police officers. Months later, it's not been returned to her, despite the illegality of the seizure having been drawn to the attention of the National Head of Legal Services 6 weeks ago, with a request that it be returned. She's now also under surveillance. On 21 November, the car she usually drives to collect her son from a boarding school a long distance away, which was driven by her oldest son, was followed all the way home by police officers in unmarked vehicles, who, on finding that she was not in the car, lost interest. Severely traumatized, she sought professional assistance, and when she handed in a medical certificate, was instructed to ask a therapist to put the diagnosis depression on it. He refused to do so. In January, she was informed that she would have to attend an expeditious disciplinary hearing to be chaired by one of the members whose irregular promotion she has reported, leading to his reversal, and he was demoted. The Human Rights Commission has intervened, having given her a whistleblower status. 2 weeks ago, she discovered that the personal phone she is now using has been hacked. She cannot access her emails, and her bank has informed her that her personal details have been leaked. The latest development, the threat of an unprocedural arrest, is linked to the harassment case opened against her in 2021. Having obtained a protection order herself against the management member, Mashale has challenged this action through her rescission application, which following several postponements is said to be heard on 13 April. She has been informed that the charge she now faces is one of perjury for submitting an affidavit to the family court stating that a protection order obtained against her had been set aside, which it has been pending a rescission application to be heard together with the management members met in April. Mashale has been given a support to hundreds of Free State officers who have been irregularly dismissed. Advocate Minister Cele, from whom she and others receive legal assistance, has won many cases to reinstate illegal business workers, and the police service refused to reinstate it, despite several labor court orders. We have now discovered that despite supposedly having been dismissed, these officers have never received dismissal letters signed by the National Police Commissioner, and the details are still reflected on the Police Service Administration system. The contribution to the GPF and the South African Revenue Services continue, but they are not getting their salaries. Who is pocketing their salaries? They have attempted to open fraud and corruption charges against police management, but they have allegedly been told to change their statements before cases are to be registered. At least one other police officer has been threatened with malicious and serious criminal charges. This is what has been happening to me. I slept at my house 2 weeks ago. I speak to my children on video call. They don't know where I am. I have to tell my 10-year-old when I'm out with work. I was already dismissed. I've been dismissed without a trial. Last week, I saw first March at my salary has not been reported. I query at work and I realized that my salary has already been stopped in January because my medical aid wrote me a letter to say they will not pay. So yeah, this is what I'm facing now. And what I want to tell you that whistleblowers in the workplace are being rewarded. Yeah. With promotions, with incentives. Keep quiet, and this is going to happen. I've been in the police since 2007. I'm a final year law student. I don't even apply for posting because I will never be promoted. I will not go anywhere as long as the likes of Bheki, General Victoria, Free State SAPS management. I heard when you speak here, Cynthia, you talked a lot about Free State. Free State is a hub. There is where corruption was bred. And I was in such a difficult position there. Wherever you go to the premier. She called the MEC of police. The MEC called the provincial commissioner. And then everything just closed in on me. So I'm here today to say that as long as we don't get support, in SAPS, legislation that doesn't exist anymore. It's just there on paper. Like I said, members have been dismissed under the wrong acts. Hundreds and hundreds of members. They dismissed me under the same wrong act. 2 days later, they asked me to come and sign for the correct act. And I asked myself, but how does this happen? And my mistake was to trust the National Commission and report the Free State Management to him. The National Commissioner was the one who revealed my identity. Right after that, I was charged criminally. My phone, my personal phone, was taken by force. I was in the office, I'm in a strict administration like in the police. 3 armed police officers came to my office, closed the door, and took my phone by force. October 14, 2021. I'll never forget that date. And up to this day, my phone has never been returned to me. My account has been hacked. You know what? When the most basic things, when we talk about human rights, are being taken away from you, where you cannot read the school group WhatsApp where your child was supposed to submit something, and he asked you on that day, but Mama, didn't you read the message? And you realize, but I don't have anything here. You cannot access your banking app to buy electricity. And then you ask yourself, but how does this still happen in this day and age? But it happens. It happens to me, it happens to Cynthia, it happens to Martha. And I've been writing numerous letters to the president. It's there. I have proof. I got responses. But after Advocate Panyana intervened 2 weeks ago, now people are starting moving, but I don't know whether I'm going to get what I deserve. Just give me, you know what, I don't even know how to describe it. Because I said here, in Joburg, only John know I'm here, you know I'm here. My family don't know where I am. I was collected from a guest house which I paid from my own pocket, not receiving a salary. And when I leave here, I must book again somewhere because I cannot go back to my house. There's a white double cab Bheki with police officers looking for me. So yes, I might be killed. I might die. Will I do it again? Of course, I will do it again. Because I want to live with myself.